Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Jose Maria Jr. And today we got special guests. We got pro boxer Brandon Figueroa. How's it going, Brandon?
Going good.
Glad to hear it. Thank you so much for making the time.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Yeah. Of course, gotta get these interviews done and gotta let the fight fans know what's coming. And yeah, just thank you for the opportunity.
no, we appreciate it. I know you've been out of the ring for a while, so it's fun to see you back in there and doing what you do best. First question we got for you, Brandon. I'm sure you get this asked all the time, and it's how did you get into boxing?
Uh, you know, uh, by the time I was already born, my older brother, beats me by 7 years. So just about the time I was like 2, 3, I mean, I was already, you know, going to these events and these boxing shows with my older brother. So I was already always around boxing, surrounded by boxing 24/7. And I picked it up at a very young age, and so ever since then, I wanted to be just like my older brother. I wanted to be a fighter, and yeah, be one of the best, be a world champion, and dreams do come true. I worked my butt off when I was small. A lot of people didn't believe in me, but here I am, and I'm just very excited for the opportunities that God has blessed me, and I'm here working hard in camp and can't wait for May 4th.
You go. And Brandon, how did you get the nickname the Heartbreaker?
The Heartbreaker nickname came in Mexico in Rio Bravo, Tamaulipas. Me and my brother would fight a lot there, and we live right across the border, which is Weslaco, 15 minutes from Tamaulipas, where my parents were raised. We have a lot of family there in Rio Bravo. So yeah, we would just cross the border and fight in Reynosa, fight in Matamoros, fight in Monterrey. I mean, just basically all over Mexico, and especially there in Rio Bravo. So I walk in with my bag, and mind you, that I'm very white complected with blue eyes. So a bunch of the little girls will go crazy, and they say, "Oh, here comes the El Rompecorazones," which in English is heartbreaker. So ever since then, my dad heard that. It was like little role little girls, and my job was always just to go and fight. I didn't care about none of that extra stuff. So yeah, ever since then, that nickname came, and it just stuck with me.
It's a great fit. And then when you hand boxers their first loss, breaking everyone's heart there as well.
Yes, sir.
And,
Yes.
and Brandon, can you tell us about your amateur career? What were some of your major accomplishments from back in the day?
Man, I didn't really have a great amateur career, I'll tell you that. My dad will focus more on my older brother. I think I had like, I want to say 50 pro fights, maybe a maximum of 80, counting the ones in Mexico,
Hmm.
when I was really small. But I do remember this. Just I only did one national tournament. When I fought in, where was it? I don't know, but I remember I fought Chris Colbert. I beat him, and then I ended up fighting Shakur Stevenson. I won 23. He beat me, and then that's when Shakur Stevenson fought. I think Antonio. I forgot his name, but I think Antonio beat Shakur, so they went. It was kind of like for the Olympic trials, something like that. But I got a great experience. It was my first time fighting nationally and fighting against these guys that are really decorated amateur fighters. I think at that time I only had 30 fights under my belt. But yeah, man, I think I had like 80 fights, maybe 30 losses. So my amateur record wasn't really that important to me. It wasn't really that great. My dad at a very young age, he told me that I had a more of a professional style.
Hmm.
I take my time to break down my opponents. I've never started off quick. I never had that speed of that explosiveness. I've always been a fighter that I break you down within time, and I have great conditioning, great stamina. So that's what's very needed in the professional fighting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, Shakur Stevenson was a name that stood out from your amateur days. When you
Mhm.
fought him back then, did you kind of feel like he was going to be a special fighter in the pros?
I mean, he was just really technical, really fundamentally sound. It was really hard to get him, because like I said, I'm a pressure fighter. So it was really hard to catch him, but I did some work. I think I only won one round, and I think I did end up hurting him to the body. Body shots have always been my thing. So yeah, but I did fight Chris Colbert, and I did end up beating him,
Yeah.
very clear. So yeah, that style has always been with me ever since, my dad, taught me that style. So yeah.
Yep. And then we flash forward to your pro debut back in May 2015 in Hidalgo, Texas. What were your emotions heading to your first pro fight?
I thought, like, to be honest, I thought it was gonna be easy. It was gonna be like easy, and my first fight, it did feel like that, but somehow I knew it was like there's no way it can be this easy. And sure enough, yeah, after I got to start getting more fights in, starting to realize like, damn, this sport is really tough, but I like it. I like something tough. I like something challenging and something that challenges me, and I like to compete. So it did teach me a lot. It taught me to just be patient. You got to be patient and inside the ring and take your time and really really read your opponent and be able to break them down as the rounds go by.
Yeah. And as you mentioned earlier in the interview, one of your goals or your dreams when you started boxing was to become a world champion, and you achieved that fairly early in your career in quite a fashion, I would say. Like you won the WBA World Super Bantamweight title, and then the very next fight, you won the WBC World Super Bantamweight title. It's back-to-back championship fights. What did that accomplishment mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot. It means that everything that I worked for in my childhood, everything that basically that I dreamt of as a kid, I got to make that kid's dreams come true. And now, as an adult, I have bigger dreams, bigger plans, different goals, different dreams. So, I was just happy that I got to be able to, I guess, satisfy that dream for my kid version. So yeah, I mean, like I can't complain. I worked my butt off, and the doors were right there, and I took the opportunity, and I just took advantage of it, and I have never looked back. I just kept looking forward, and yeah, I was just happy and blessed that I got to be able to become a world champion, and hopefully soon I'll become a world champion again.
Yeah, no, I mean you're right there with the interim title for another title shot. I want to talk about your only loss in your pro record. It's a controversial one versus Stephen Fulton. What did you end up learning from that loss?
Yeah, learned a lot actually from that fight. Definitely to use my skills more, my advantages, my height, and like I said, just be a little bit more patient. I feel like boxing is like it's like a chess game. You have to be really patient, really smart with every punch you throw, with every movement you make. It matters. A lot of people don't think it matters, but one punch can literally change the outcome of the fight. So you just have to be really smart and know when to play that punch and break when to break down your opponent mentally. A lot of people think it's about being physically strong in the ring, but it's actually about being mentally strong. It's whoever strongest has the strongest mindset, strongest will, because you can be super strong and you can fight someone that has a strong will, and he will just break you down. He will just break down your will, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do once you get broken mentally and your will's broken. You already lost the fight.
Said. And are you so interested in getting your get back in the second bout with Stephen Fulton, or have you lost interest in avenging that loss and are onto kind of other goals?
No, I mean that's still in the books. I know he just finished getting an off a loss with Inuit. He hasn't been active, so I've been fighting at 126 for a while now. So whenever he moves up and the fight makes sense, I mean I'm there. So I'm willing to make that fight, and I know the fight fans would actually want to see that fight again. So yeah, definitely, and I think that fight will be made definitely in the future. But like I said, for right now, I don't know if he's active or not. It just depends on him, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna try to get some few fights at 126 first, and whatever happens happens. But I'm willing to make that rematch.
Most definitely. Speaking of the future now, as you mentioned, you're going to be back on your next fights on May 4th as part of the Canelo Munguia undercard in Las Vegas. What are your thoughts on fighting on a Canelo card and being on what's probably going to be the biggest fight of the year?
I mean, yeah, it's amazing. It's like I said, it's opportunities and blessings that that have come my way, and I just have to take advantage of them. Like I said, I haven't fought in a year, and just to have this opportunity to fight in a T-Mobile Arena and in such a big card, is awesome. So I can't wait for that to come, and definitely have big plans for later this year.
And I know early on, Jesse Magdalena was one of your rumored opponents. I think that's since changed. Are you able to confirm who your opponent's going to be for May 4th, or do we have to wait for the official announcement?
Yeah, I mean that's what I've been waiting to for the official announcement, because I don't want to make an announcement and then for them to say, oh no, not this and this and that. So I just want to give the fight fans, the correct information. That way, they get excited and they look forward to the fight.
No, absolutely. And then not overlooking your next fight at all, Brandon, but you are the WBC interim world featherweight champion, and we know Ray Vargas is a full champion at that weight class with the WBC. Is the WBC title shot something you like to target after this upcoming fight?
I mean, I've been trying to target it ever since I was a mandatory after I beat Carlos Castro. But if Maxaya was in the way, I mean, I made sure that I dealt with that, and make sure that I'm heading towards the title. Going to fight the best of the best, trying to fight the champions, and Rey Vargas is definitely a champion. So I'm trying to fight him, and hopefully everything comes my way.
Nice. And then, Brandon, what would be your dream betting to headline one day?
A dream headline?
Mm-hmm.
Probably Inui. I feel like fighting him would probably be the biggest. I mean, to me, he's one of the best boxers right now in the world. So why not, try to fight someone that's at the highest level. And not only that, but he has a whole country behind him. So he has a lot with him. So I'm willing to make that fight. I know that fight will be exciting. The fans will love that fight. And I don't shy away from any opponent, from any fight. I come to fight, and I feel like headlining with him would probably be one of the biggest fights of the year, if anything.
Nice. Would you go to Japan for that one?
I love Japan, so yeah. I mean, I would love to go to Japan. I know I have a lot of fans over there. After I beat Nettie, I started getting a lot of comments and tags that they're willing to throw a parade for me and stuff like that. So yeah, I love my fans all around the world, and hopefully one day I get to fight in front of them.
Absolutely. And then, Brandon, who's been the hardest puncher you've been in the ring with, either in sparring or on the pro fight?
Probably my older brother. He's been the only one to hurt me with a body shot multiple times and made me dizzy. I fought all these fighters, but I don't know if my adrenaline is too high or I just have that mentality where I'm numb, but I don't really feel much in fights. Maybe just when you get the little cuts, you feel that warm feeling of the blood trickling down. But other than that, I never really felt like I was in trouble in a fight. Like, oh crap, like I have to hold them or run or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I would like to say my older brother has been the only one that I have felt the power with his punches. So yeah,
absolutely. And then, who was your favorite boxer growing up?
my favorite boxer, actually, I mean, I never really had one. I mean, I would like to say my older brother. Like I said, I looked up to him tremendously, and I've always said it was him. I remember this one time the newspaper came and they asked me, and I had to pick one, so I picked Sugar Shane mostly at that time. But I mean, I just said that just so I can give the news a story. But I mean, right now, probably David Benavidez. I've actually liked the way he fights. He's just a come forward fighter, and he would just mess you up. So yeah, I feel like maybe David Benavidez and probably my older brother have been, one of my favorite fighters to see. Recently, I like the way a lot of fights too. He's been looking really good. I've been really impressed by the way he moves, and especially because I switched lefty to righty, so I try to pick up a little bit from everyone's style, and he has that lefty style that's just is dangerous. So, like I said, yeah, maybe Benavidez, my older brother, and maybe Lara too.
Nice, all great names. And we did have the opportunity to interview your older brother Omar early on. Great boxer and just a great person overall. So definitely someone to look up to. Speaking of now of present day, who do you consider to be the #1 pound for pound fighter today?
#1 pound for powder, probably Benavidez. I feel like he hasn't had the chance to really prove himself. But I feel like he's up there. I feel like if not now, maybe in a few years, maybe after Canelo retires or something like that. But there's always gonna be someone that's gonna be the face of boxing, someone that's gonna be the top dog, and I feel like right now Canelo deserves a spot. But eventually he's gonna retire. So it's for the new generation that's coming up that has to really, you know, cement that position.
Yeah, well said. For the next segment, Brandon, I want to pick your brain on some confirmed boxing fights or rumored boxing fights, and you let me know who you think would win. If it's too close to call, you can say 50-50, or you can also just pass on it.
Okay.
First one I want to ask you about is Naoya Inoue versus Luis Nery. How do you see that one playing out?
I mean, I feel like Inui, you know, just because he's a complete fighter, I feel like he has all the tools necessary. I wish, you know, Nettie nothing but the best as well. He's dangerous. I'll tell you that he's dangerous. So I don't know. It's just I just feel like it's how Nettie's coming to fight him, but you know, Nettie has to let his hands go. And but like I said, you know, he knew he's just dangerous. No matter how you come at him, I feel like he's just his punches are very precise and very accurate. So that's one thing, you know, I waited for Nettie to open up just so I can catch him with that body shot. And I was just planning on it from the first round. I was like, you know, Nettie opens up a lot, and I'm gonna get him to the point where he's gonna open up. And I just waited. You know, it was just time of placing that punch.
No, it's definitely a great fight. Next one I want to ask you about is Devon Haney versus Ryan Garcia.
Uh, I want Ryan Garcia to win. I'm rooting for him, but I just feel like Devin Haney's discipline and inside and out the ring is what always gonna give a boxer an edge. No matter how talented you are, if you work hard, you stay disciplined, that will take you a long way.
I agree. I'm leaning Haney on that one, but Ryan Garcia is dangerous with that punch. He's got to
Yeah.
catch him clean one time, and that can change the fight.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. So it's a really good fight. I mean, I'm excited, but like I said, I'm rooting for Ryan Garcia. But I just feel like Devin Haney's just his discipline is what's gonna give him the edge.
Next one I want to ask you about is going to be the main event for your undercard. Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia. Who do you think wins that one?
Canelo easy,
No.
no doubt. Yeah, I feel like his pressure. I mean, Jaime Munguia, he like I said, he has to show no respect to Canelo, and he has to really let his hands go. I feel like in order for him to do something to Canelo, or at least back him off a little bit. But if he let Canelo do his thing, I mean, Canelo is just gonna overwhelm him and you know just break him down and get him out of there.
And then the last one I want to ask you about, this one's still rumored since it hasn't been officially announced, and it's Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin, potentially at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. How do you see that one?
Just the way, man, that's actually a tough one. I would like to say 50-50 on that one. Because Frank Martin, I mean, he's dangerous. He's quick. He's basically everything that's bad for Gervonta Davis. But like I said, it's just it all matters on how Frank Martin has the game plan. But never underestimate Gervonta Davis. You know, he's dangerous all around. He's really smart, and the way he's been disciplined now is like I said, discipline will go a long way. And I feel like the way he's training now and the way he's taking things, I guess, serious now, I feel like that will pay a big factor.
Coming back to you, Brandon, what are some things you like to do outside of boxing? Some of your interests and hobbies?
I like cooking. I like cooking. I like you know, just hanging out with my family. Um, you know, I do want to invest my money into some businesses and maybe you know, be a businessman and be able to run a couple of businesses and you know see what goes from there. But like I said, boxing's not forever. You know, you gotta make that money and invest it wisely. And yeah, pretty much. But I do love cooking. I do love playing games. And just you know, enjoying time with my family and friends.
Great. And another thing I learned recently about you, Brandon, is that you also dabble in acting. You're an actor, going to be in that recent film Find Me that's going to be on Amazon Prime Video later this spring. What can you tell us about that role? How was it acting, and how does it compare to boxing?
Oh yeah, of course. You know, acting is really fun. You know, just something different from boxing and just getting to be around other people that do something other outside of boxing and are talented is you know, it's inspiring and it motivates me as well because like damn, like there's so many things to be good at. There's so many hobbies to be in, I guess, immersed in, and I just feel like you know acting is one of them. You know, is cool. It's
Yeah.
fun. I had a fun time shooting for that movie. Even though I came out like I want to say maybe I came out for like 10 seconds, 20 seconds max. It was a little short cameo. But I'm also doing this other Tales of the Crypt modernization show that I got the lead role. So I was a little bit more nervous for that because I had to really say my lines and act it out and stuff like that. So that was really interesting, but it was awesome. And then the fight scene, I felt like it was just so awesome because I know how to fight. I know how to throw punches to make them look more realistic and close to the face without hitting the actor. So it was really good. I like the that acting part and just doing something out of boxing. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. And then what's the best piece of advice you would give someone who's thinking about going pro and making a career out of boxing?
You got to stay consistent, consistent and disciplined. A lot of boxers come for like, I think a lot of boxers come and go in my gym. They come for like a month, 2 months. And it's like, no, you have to, I'm talking about, you have to be consistent, like year round, 2 years, 3 years, like consistent to the point where it's basically how bad you want it. You can't come to the gym for 2, 3 months and then lay off for another 2 months and then come back. And no, it's not going to work like that. You got to stay 100% dedicated, full time, even. Because I feel like that's what's going to bring the best results. Is you got to stay disciplined. You got to take care of boxing the way it takes care of you. You got to make sure you put the hours in the gym, and you got to make sure that you eat the right stuff. So it's not only what you do in the ring, but also or in boxing, but also when you leave, you got to get your rest. You got to eat good. Got to drink water. You got to take your vitamins. You got to take your recovery days really serious. And yeah, pretty much.
Great advice. Final question we got for you, Brandon, is not really a question. It's more so opening up the floor. What's the message you want to send to your fans and supporters?
Oh man, I know you guys have been waiting a while. I'm one of the most exciting fighters out here in this generation, and I come to fight. I have that traditional mindset where, I love to bring the fight fans a great show and entertain them, and just fight. I'm not there to look pretty, to play patty cake. I'm there to beat my opponent up, literally. So I know my fight fans have been asking me, messaging me, like, when are you gonna fight? When are you gonna fight? It's been over a year and this and that. And I'm just like, be patient. I've been patient enough, for me that, I've been waiting to fight for almost, like a year, a little bit over a year. And, like I said, it's just being patient and just waiting for that right time and just waiting for God to align everything. And yeah, so I can't wait for May 4th. I've been here training with my family for a couple months now. And yeah, just polishing the diamond. And once fight night comes, you guys will be first of all, you guys will be impressed, and a lot of things that I've been working on. And I'm just hungry. I'm just hungry to fight and hungry to give the fans a great show.
I'm sure those have been the top two questions: is when are you going to fight and who are you going to fight? So we got the answer to one of them. It's going to be May 4th. So we're looking forward to the official announcement to see who your opponent's going to be, and looking forward to you again doing your thing and putting great performance.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate talking some boxing with you and getting to know you better. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Yes, sir.